say welcome with the microphone. Right. Item 1, receive and accept apologies for absence.
None received, but Kat, I guess, is not coming.
Right. Okay. Item 2, to note declaration of members' personal, prejudicial and disclosable pecuniary interests in respect of items on the agenda. Are there any at all? No? In that case, we'll move on to the minutes. 4.1, to confirm the minutes of the meeting held. Catherine. Right. 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 Yeah, I'll change it on there. All right, yeah, I can see it, yeah, okay, yeah. All right, apart from that, is everybody happy that they're a true and accurate record? Right, 4.2, to receive an update on items from the previous meeting, if not agenda items for this meeting. Have we got any?
I think we've got things in the pack. Mostly things are coming up on the agenda. We have got a Teams meeting booked with Norfolk Trails team regarding Church Walk, and that goes back to the historic encroachment. Peter and Catherine have said they're happy to be part of that, so it's more information gathering more than anything else. And the Heritage Park signs, we have some drafts here, so it might be worth just passing those around if people want to have a look and let us know any comments, please. We're progressing with the Thetford Road allotment land transfer. Doing well. That's it.
Right. Thank you very much. In that case, we'll move on to item 5, to receive reports. Chairman's report. I attended the Food Hub and the Charlotte Harvey Trust management meeting on the 13th of February. The following day, I attended the finance meeting. And last Saturday, I attended the Twinning Association dinner, which was a hoot, I have to say, sort of thing. It was, I wasn't sure what I was going to expect, but it was a really good evening. So, right, Vice Chairman's report.
On the 13th of February, I attended the Food Hub and Community Centre meetings. On the 14th of February, I attended the HR meeting. And on the 18th of February, I attended the Family Fun Day at the Community Centre. It was very successful.
Thank you. District Councillor's report. Tina.
Thank you. I feel I must report on the meeting that Keith and I attended after full council on Thursday. It is the devolution and LGR, local government reorganisation. This is going to have a huge impact on us at town and parish level. That includes you guys as well. Yeah. And I feel that we are going to have to step up considerably, as will all our local parishes. There is a lot of confusion at all levels, with central government drip feeding almost daily information, and they are unsure of how to pull this off. It therefore falls to us at this level to steady the ship, so to speak. It is definitely going to be a case of us getting more powers devolved down to us. Therefore, we need to be totally match ready and professional in our approach. I do feel that we should be keeping the dialogue open re the car parks, as there is going to be a scramble for assets when the new authorities are in place, and we need to have secured as much as we can within our own areas, including our car parks. All the town councils have now expressed that they want to take them over now, and that is on a lease purchase, rather than freehold rather than leasing it. Now is not the time for us at this council to put anything on hold. In fact, we need to be up in our game and start to demand more. Otherwise, it will go to fulfil the debts of other district councils that may or may not be joined to Breckland. There is only one constant in all this mess, and that is town and parish councils. I also feel that given this updated news that we need to rejoin NALC. This is the only body that represents town and parish level. Therefore, it is the only body that central government is speaking to. With us not being part of it, we are in danger of being out of the loop. I also feel that we as a council allow our clerk to engage with all the other local councils in order that we show a united front when it comes to us dealing with a unitary authority or whatever it is that we end up with. It really is a mess, and even more worrying is that a unitary council will be raising their own precept on top of a council tax band that will be paying to an amalgamated authority. It means that councils like North Norfolk, who have a much higher rate of council tax, will be evened out. So in other words, they will pay less and us will pay considerably more, and then the unitary council tax on top. It also means that if councils are joined, they will take on their debts and assets. For us in Breckland, they will have far-reaching ripple effects, as we are the only council that does not have debts and assets only, which, as they keep telling us, is why we pay low council tax. All of this is why we as a town council need to keep the dialogue open, read anything that we can gain from Breckland to stop a unitary council absorbing it and taking it away from our control. Sounds a bit doom and gloomy, but we do need to get our sort of on a plus side, the pub's open.
Are there any questions for Tina on this? Thomas?
Thank you, Tina. That was very informative. Will you be attending the Teams meeting on the 3rd of March with me?
Is that the asking Sam Chapman-Allen the questions from? What is that on the 3rd?
Now, I have sent it round to everybody, an email when it came to me on the 24th. I forwarded that on, and it is a Microsoft Teams meeting on the 3rd of March. So it would probably be a good one to attend.
I think that is the same as what we had at district council level. That is just to let you guys know pretty much what that was, and that was what we heard. So it's just a replication for the parish and towns.
Keith?
Yeah, Tina's brought up a thing about the car parks. I think we need to continue negotiating with Breckland. At the moment, the way I see Breckland is that they are open to negotiation because they are in their last throes. If we do not continue with looking to take over the car parks, what will happen is that I think what came out of the meeting we had after full Breckland Council, we're probably looking at East and West Norfolk and probably Norwich on expanded boundaries. We're not sure. And if we was to go forward with, as I see it, we'll probably join up with Kings Lynn and West Norfolk and probably maybe half of North Norfolk. Those councils already charge for car parking. And if we join in with those, the new authority will just say, oh, we haven't got car parking charges there, we'll put them in. I think we need to go in hard and continue to take over those car parks. And I agree with Tina that it needs to be on a freehold basis, not a lease. And if we don't do it now, we're going to miss the boat.
Catherine, I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah, just to say that this is already on the agenda. If you look at, it's under finance, so it would be more
So
appropriate to have
it
the
will come
discussion
up
there.
under finance. All right. Okay, so is there anything else on the district councillor's report? Right. Okay, we haven't had a county councillor's report.
Yes, we have. That came in about an hour before the meeting started, I think.
Right.
So it has
I
gone
haven't
round
seen
to
it,
people.
but, right. Okay. Right, so we'll move on to the clerk's report. Right. So, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Is everybody in agreement with that we get it, at least 24 hours before? Right, clerk's report.
Okay, just a bit of an update as to what is in your pack already. A lot of us in the office have holiday to take, so there will be people on holiday this next month of March. So we're quite busy. We've been hampered today by the internet dropping out incredibly. It's been absolutely awful. And if we lose the internet, we lose the phones. It's been a bit of a nightmare, and this has been going on several days now. BT has so far have not been very helpful, although they did say they'll send an engineer out tomorrow. So we'll wait and see. But please, if you can't get hold of us, that's why, just letting you know. We've had the lights done downstairs, so they are now on motion sensors, which is quite good actually. They're not being left on as they were. Bridle Road play area, work's still going on down there. Pump track location, that's being moved. Volunteers are still doing a bit of work. They'll be back there tomorrow. Benches that were at level have gone in at Bridle. One of them has, one still to be put in. So that's all ongoing. Trees have been planted at Jubilee. Quite a lot of work being done at the cemetery. Report from the events and marketing officer also in your pack about the February Fun Day. So I think that's about it.
Thank you. Any questions for the clerk at all? No, if not, reports from Tina, sorry.
An appropriate time to comment on these, or are these on the agenda at all?
Well, yeah, if you want to let me know, we're at the end, Tina, whichever.
Okay. No, it's just this one, I don't know if anyone else feels the same way, but it's a bit too restrictive. It's a bit too much.
Is it you must? I think we're looking at protecting the council. So.
But you've got that written down here right at the bottom. The Watton Town Council accepts responsibility, cannot accept responsibility or liability. That rules out all the rest of it.
I'd say it's ROSPA wording that's on there, but anyway.
I don't think everybody's seen it.
That's just giving you my opinion.
So people comment at the end of the meeting.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Right, reports from lead councillors. If there aren't any, then we'll move on. Oh, sorry.
Lead council for the Western Central Commerce. There isn't a jobs fair this year, I understand, but there is a well-being event being held in Charlotte Harvey on the 18th of March, which includes the title is offering well-being support along the lines of health and well-being, benefits advice and support, cost of living advice and support, volunteering and local opportunities. It's quite a peripheral canvas there. Pat Warwick is the main organiser of this event, but on behalf of the chamber. It looks to be quite an interesting event and opportunistic for the community, given the current state of affairs with public finances and individuals funding events, etc. And I've sent out a flyer electronically to every councillor. Can I ask you please to support the chamber in supporting the community with this, and share it, circulate it, make people aware.
Thank you.
I was actually going to say that is how the whole community obviously is going to, because it's quite an interesting situation, but obviously we need to pass that over the community.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Right. We'll move on to item 6, to note and amend the work in progress list. Catherine.
Just in line with the correction to the minutes before, the first resolution on the work in progress, which is to do with the complaint about Wayland Wood. Can we amend the wording so it says concerns raised? Thank you.
Are there any other comments on the work in progress list? If they're not, then we will move on to item 6.1 to consider removing the commitment to find new land for the cemetery for the works in progress list. Peter?
Chair, yeah, I also have this put on. That item has been on a long time now, ever since we had the works in progress. I think we need to be realistic. With what Tina was talking about before, and the issues to do with local government reorganisation, I think it's unrealistic to expect the town council to be able to purchase land now for the purpose of a cemetery. There is very little land, if any, left in Watton because developers have built on all of it. It would have to be outside the town boundaries. I don't know where we would get the money from because we certainly don't have that kind of money in reserves, because you're talking not hundreds of thousands, but you're talking millions of pounds now to buy land. We don't have that kind of money. The current cemetery is still operating and will operate for at least another 10 years, I think, with the amount of space we have there. And the fact that more and more people choose to be cremated, or their relatives choose them to be cremated, and don't have the ashes returned to Watton. So the ashes plots aren't filling up, although we are going to extend it. So there is no pressing need at the moment for a cemetery, a new cemetery in Watton. So I would suggest we need to be realistic and move it from the works in progress. Thank you, Chair.
Is there a seconder for? Oh, is everybody in agreement? Right. Right. So in that case, we'll move on to item 7, public participation. We do have 2 members of the public at the back. Do you wish to participate? Do you want to come down the front, Paul? Yeah. Switch the mic on, although you have quite a loud voice anyway, Paul.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd really just like to endorse that which Councillor Tina and Keith have brought up about the car parking, and pursuing the possibility of taking over control of the car parks from Watton Town Council as opposed to putting it on hold. As traders, we feel it's too good an opportunity to miss. We're pleased that the council have been pursuing it so far, and up until the announcement, we understand that was full steam ahead. But the prospect of it sort of being held until we see what happens from the unitary perspective is a bit of a worry, as I think you'd mentioned as well. With the unitary, it's a much bigger organisation, and their priority for little old Watton and their car park issues probably would be sort of swept down the agenda. So if there is the option and the possibility to pursue it, then again, I would endorse the points made earlier. I'll just say, out of the blue, I did have a phone call from Sam Chapman-Allen shortly after the announcement was made publicly that they were going to put things on hold. And he said, as we had met before on the car parking issue, he would just keep us up to date, which I thought was good of him. And he said exactly the same words I believe Keith said, that if we are merged with West Norfolk Council, they won't just charge a fee to cover the cost of the car park, but it's a commercial rate that they will wish to make money from as well. So again, it would be bad enough with a lesser rate. With a potentially a more commercial rate would be terrible. So again, I would just offer my support for and our side, not just me personally, but the support that you keep going with it to pursue it, and hopefully get a satisfactory result from Breckland, so that it is in the control locally. Thank you.
We are due to discuss it
Yes,
in
fine.
the next item, I think.
Okay.
So, thank you very much, Bob. Do you want to come forward? Yeah. And speak. And, right. If you introduce yourself as well. Yeah.
Hello, testing. Right, good evening. My name is Jonathan Baldwin, Chairman of St Antonio Parish Council, and I'm just here to give an update on where we are in regards to the Watton and Sayham Flood Action Group. At this present time, our clerk, who has been in post since October, is still adapting and learning in the role, so she is unable to do much more than she already is. But what we as a council have discussed is wanting to support the current group and see them be a more working group. Liz Witcher has put her heart and soul into the group, and the work she has done will be difficult to replicate. But what we would like to see is us, both as councils, offering our continued support to those in the group and potentially open it up to residents to join, because that's what it's all about. And where am I? And then the working group could continue as they do and raise any problems as necessary to the relevant councils. So that was it.
Excellent. Well, we had a meeting before and that was very supportive, and it is going to come up again.
Yeah.
But I think Keith wants to say something.
Yeah, and as you know, I am one of the members of Watton and Sayham Flood Action Group, and we are a total vast number of 3. Me, Liz and Nick. And with some help from some other people. So Liz is, as we know, is needing to step back. I don't know what my future involvement is going to be in anything at the moment. I'm getting on. I'm closer to 80 than 70. And, so I think we're at a stage really where it needs to be more formal than it is now. With it, rather than just support from the council's taking ownership of it, but hoping that people will come along and work with them. It's a case of the oversight of it, because at the moment we are just a bunch of local people punching above our weight.
Yeah.
Way above our weight, because it's got to the stage where through Liz's work, she's on first name terms with people from the Environment Agency, highways.
It's incredible what she's managed to do. It's just...
And the phone rings and says, "Is Liz on the line?" Oh yeah, okay, Liz, what have I got to do? And that ain't going to go on. So unless we've got another Liz in the wings, we're going to struggle to keep the group going with to me it's the overarching who owns it.
Keith, we are going to discuss this on item 11.
Yeah,
so
I'm just trying to say, you see where I'm coming from.
Because I think Nick Creek's the same, so because I think he's getting on now, and that's just enlightening. And one other question for Tina. With devolution, are now the only ones that will be dealing with the Breckland? Because there's another council you can sign up, or thingy-majig.
I think the clerk will explain it as well. Now it's a National Association of Local Councils. So that they are the ones that town and parish councils deal with. Breckland obviously deal with the LGA and all the other different groups, but parish and town councils only have one major body, which is NALC.
Okay, that's interesting.
So that is where central government will be talking to them, and any funding, etc., to go, or if there's any change in demographics for councils and the devolution part of it, of passing on powers down.
Yep.
That will be steered by NALC.
Okay.
So to be a member of them is not that much money, is it?
Well,
Jane?
we are a member, and we were looking at leaving. So.
Well, so will we, but that I think is on. But with the new information that we have, I was speaking to the clerk about this. with the new information we have, if we are not a member of it, we know nothing. We will know nothing. It will only be hearsay. So I think leaving would be foolhardy.
Right, Catherine.
Yeah, I understand what Tina's saying, and we can't have that discussion now because it's not on the agenda. We have made the decision, and under the 6 months rule, we shouldn't be discussing it again. But if there is new information, Jane can put it on the agenda for us next time.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Right. All right. Well, thank you very much indeed. And we will be discussing it under item 11 anyway. So, yeah. Right. So we'll move on to item 8, finance. I'll pass over to Catherine at this point.
First of all, can you note the minutes from the Finance Committee meeting of the 14th of February? Yeah. And then moving on to the recommendations, the first recommendation is to accept the quote received of £3,375 plus VAT to carry out the fixed electrical wiring test at Linmore unit and install a new circuit for the lights. This is work that needs doing. The council staff have done the research for us and looked at quotes. And when we discussed it at the Finance Committee, this was seen as the best value quote. So can I recommend that we accept this?
Have we got a seconder for that? Right. Everybody in favour? Excellent. Thank you.
Right. The second recommendation is something we've been touching on already, and that's to do with the transfer of the town car parks from Breckland Council. And the Finance Committee, it should be clarity, on the grounds of the lack of clarity at the moment, did recommend that we put those talks on hold for the moment. That's a recommendation from the Finance Committee. It's for the council to have that discussion and make that decision. So I'm just proposing that on behalf of the Finance Committee.
Peter.
Thank you, Chair. And I understand the concerns that people have raised and said, about wanting to keep the freehold. One of the difficulties at the moment is that if we didn't have local government reorganisation proposed, the concept being that the maintenance of the car parks would continue under Breckland. And the concept was that this town council would then pay Breckland to carry on doing the maintenance and the resurfing, etc. Now, if Breckland vanishes, which I have to say, Tina, I'd be delighted about. If Breckland vanished tomorrow, who's going to do that maintenance? Because if it's going to fall to us, the precept we put in is not enough money. Now, if what you're saying, and who knows what the outcome would be, if we become mid-Norfolk unitary authority, one presumes that Breckland would have to hand over the maintenance money to them and they would oversee it. Or would Breckland give us the maintenance money? Because I don't think they will do. I don't think we'd get that money and we would be expected to cough it up ourselves. That's part of the problem is, at the moment, we don't know where anything is going over this. And until we've got some clarity, I think we've got a problem. I haven't personally got a problem if people want to go on and talk about freehold and the rest of it, but the issue will be the cost of maintaining those car parks. Breckland were going to maintain all their car parks so they've got economy of scale and we wouldn't have to pay a huge amount. But if we've all got to pay for our own, I think there'd be a problem.
Tina, and then
I don't think we can make that decision because we don't know. This is such a fast-moving thing. I think the only thing we can do at this moment is keep the dialogue open and find out what's going on, not to put it on hold. If we put it on hold, that means we don't have open dialogue. So I think we need to keep the door open and find out what's going on, because at the moment, Breckland don't know what's going on. Central government doesn't know what's going on. Who knows who's going to be paying for what? Because who knows, we might get more money from central government being a more devolved power. So I think we really don't know. We can't make a decision hard and fast any which way, but we need to keep that door open just to find out what is going to be on the table. Then we can make a decision.
Keith, and then Stan, and then Graham.
Basically, exactly the same as Tina said. The time, I personally think at the moment is a good time to negotiate with Breckland, because I think they want to divest things if they can. They keep saying that they want to not make a profit just to break even. Well, if they can break even, so can we. Not by charging. But I think to put it on hold now, we might miss the boat. We could be standing there at the quayside just as the gangplank is pulled up. So I think we need to carry on talking with Breckland, negotiating, and if we can take over the freehold, then I think we should be doing so. So I can't support the second recommendation.
Stan, and then Graham.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, things are fast moving to the point that I was involved in this conversation with the Finance Committee. However, whilst I fully support Peter's views concerning the maintenance, I'll be frank, I'll take a risk. If the hitman's out there to get me, he'll find me anyway. But I have zero respect and 100% contempt for our government, our local government, our Norfolk County Council, Breckland. I don't trust any of them. Nobody has ever delivered on what they've promised. And I just feel that if there is a door of opportunity, that could close, and we just don't know when that could close and what could happen. So I feel that if the option now is to keep the dialogue open and look at the opportunities of taking on the freehold, then we should consider that. We shouldn't just tread water and see what happens, because everything will happen so fast, and it wouldn't surprise me in the least for us to wake up one morning and say, oh, it's not an option now. It's not an option. So I feel that putting it on hold might not be the best opportunity for the council.
Thank you. Graham.
I would like to ask one question. One leads into another, really. Have we got any actual cost of what it's going to cost for these car parks? No. So we don't know if we've got the funding for it. Right? And the other thing is,
we have seen some costings for the leasing thing.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that we don't know what the cost is at the moment.
We have had some indications of costing, Graham. What we haven't had a contract yet that sets out all the details. So we're not at our stage.
And the following on from that is that if we do get a price and we think that's acceptable, okay, and Tina might be able to answer this, if there's this devolution where they're going to alter things, and right, could someone else step in and say, we're going to offer you more for those car parks? You know, what I'm saying is that, you know, yes, someone else will come along and say, you know, is it possible that it could be done?
No, of course it can. If it's a council asset that is then going to be devolved down to someone, and then we have made that decision to take it on, no one else can then step in and say, well, NCP or somebody like that can turn around and say, well, we'll have it, because yeah, but they are in talks with all the town councils at the moment, everyone. Yeah, it's possible. But so is a moon landing and an NCP car park going up on the moon. You're talking about some what ifs that are going far and beyond the reality here. And the reality here is keeping everything local, and government, the central government want local town and parish councils to be stronger, because that is where their localism is going to be coming from. When everyone talks about a unitary council being disenfranchised with localism, the localism is coming from that. That is what the steer is. So for us to have control, which puts it back locally, we need to grab everything that we can within our town. And I would even go so far as to say that we need to put an expression of interest in on the land down the side of the Queen's Hall, for the Queen's Hall, to keep it in Watton. Otherwise, that will be sold off like that.
Right. We are moving slightly away from, so we've got a proposal on here, on the finance thing, haven't we? So are we going to move forward on that? We need to vote.
I'm just presenting it on behalf of the Finance Committee.
Exactly.
As,
yeah.
in order.
So is there a seconder for that then? Right, okay. From the Finance Committee. Well,
I just want to clarify something. If we offer the price for these car parks, that say is £1 million, just to take a figure out of the blue, and then we have this devolution, and then someone steps in and says, this is going to be a drain on the council's resources for the maintenance of these car parks, and someone else steps in and says, oh, we'll take it over for 1.5 million, Breckland are going to grab as much as they can out of it. So I think,
but that's not what we're discussing tonight, Graham.
No, I appreciate that, but and unless it is thrown out there to find out if someone else has got any other opinions, we won't get anywhere, will we? And at the moment, there is no hard facts anywhere.
Right. Okay. So we have a proposal from the Finance Committee. Is there a seconder from the? Right. So. Does anybody want to make an amendment to that? All right. Or we'll just vote on it then. Right. Okay. All right. Thomas.
I just wanted to suggest that a possible amendment could be changing the dates on it. So we're talking about stepping away from the conversation indefinitely. Perhaps we just pick a day.
No. Catherine. No, okay. So we'll just vote on it then. So is everybody who's in favour of the item on the agenda as proposed? Right. So we're not accepting it then, are we? Keith.
Before we leave the Finance Committee report, can I suggest that the committee might like to look at amending the minutes at their next meeting? Because are we actually talking to the Norfolk Trials, or are we talking to Norfolk Trails? Because in here it says Norfolk Trials. There are several references I picked up.
Right,
Catherine. You can correct me.
We did miss one item, which is to approve payments for February 2025. Yeah. So if we can do that, I'd be grateful.
Yeah. Is everybody happy to accept?
Yeah, thank you.
Right. So with that addition, everybody happy with those? Right. Fine. So
I would suggest at the moment it be a standing item for all meetings.
Right. Is everybody happy to accept that? Because it is going to be a fast moving thing. Thomas. Come on, and yeah. No, exactly. Yeah.
And just for clarity, if we're not putting talks on hold, we are continuing with them. Yeah.
Sue?
Continuing talks for freehold rather than leasehold. Just,
Yeah.
Sorry, Sue, that would all come into the discussions because we haven't actually closed any doors on the discussions.
Yeah. Right. Right, so haven't put that one to bed. We'll move on to item 9, to accept the draft grants policy and application pack. Jane?
We looked at this in the office, so we have put this draft together. So really, it's just if anybody has got any comments on it, please let us know. Then we'll bring it back perhaps to council to ratify it if there is any changes, or it's there as it is.
Yeah, Catherine.
Just to give everybody just a bit of background to this one, the reason that the staff were actually asked to look at this is because we felt that the idea of the grants and donations had really drifted a bit. And what is a grant, what is donation? And it makes more sense to have a grants policy to make sure there's an expectation in it that it will be at the lower level, but that the council are open to larger grants as well. And rather than have a defined budget in the working budget, the grants will come out of our general reserves. So there'll be proper discussion at council about each application on its merits, and the new policy will reflect that.
Graham.
There was talk of making this a little bit easier for filling the forms out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, because it is a little bit confusing for some people, isn't it? Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. I think we ought to thank the office for doing quite a lot of work on this and making it easier and such like. Right. Item 10, to consider grant application received from Watton District Guiding. It's all in your pack. Is everybody happy to? Sue?
I haven't got a problem with it because I think it's going to help a lot of youngsters. But it's just to note the fact that they're asking for a thinking day thing. The thinking day was last Friday. So are we offering this money retrospectively or?
Well, I think the problem was under the scheme as it is now, the grants thing, we weren't due to do it until March. So in future, it won't be like that, because when a small one comes in like that, we'll be able to discuss it at the next meeting. So.
Okay, and
I don't think it is retrospectively, though, is it? I think they.
Well, it's said on there the fact that anything left over will go towards another camp. But I just wondered whether they've sort of like spent out before they've even got anything from us. It's not a problem, and I've got no objections.
I'm not really sure,
but
to be honest, sort of thing. So. Stan.
Yeah, sorry, was Catherine first? Did you? Okay. Thank you, Chair. Just a thought following on from Sue, and in order to perhaps help people feel more comfortable if it does get raised as an issue, and if council are in agreement, I'm with the thought that we have said we won't make retrospective payments, but would council be comfortable if we are content that the application was made before the event?
Yeah,
I recorded that.
It was made in early January, but unfortunately we couldn't discuss it until the March.
Then, if it needs formalising, I'm happy to propose that council accept it on those circumstances.
Right. Is everybody in favour? Excellent. Right. Item 11, to consider assistance to enable the Watton and Swaffham Flood Action Group to continue. Right, this is where you can burst into action, Keith. Or have you said it all in the previous bit? I think we discussed it when Liz was here, didn't we? That we would give as much support as we could towards it. But, Peter.
Chair, I wonder if it's worth us formally setting up a joint committee between this town and Sayham to look at the flood action work. So if we formally, and we can bring this back to the next meeting, I'm sorry it's dragging on, but that we can write something in standing orders that we will have a joint committee with Sayham, and Sayham can do the same. We can then say we'll have 3 people from each town, and I say people, it doesn't have to be councillors, we can nominate others, and then we can have a committee of 6, which would meet under the aegis of the 2 town councils.
Yeah. Have we a seconder for that?
Yeah, that would be absolutely perfect, because that's the way I see it going on in the future. It will have the authority of the town and parish councils, and working basically as we are at the moment, and keep it going.
Right. Tina.
I think, would it be possible if we could allow the clerk to be able to minute those sort of, and to give the professionalism that group would then need to then approach the big guns that they are obviously dealing with at the moment? It would give the group professionalism.
Joint committee. If it's a formal joint committee, then it has to be serviced by the office staff.
Yeah.
But we would need to amend our constitution. You probably need to amend your standing orders as well, so that it becomes a formal organisation of both councils. Have a think about it.
If I put something together for our next meeting,
that would be helpful.
and I'll share it with you,
Yeah.
you guys as well, if that's helpful.
So, yeah, right. Quickly.
Yeah, just a quick question. What sort of powers will this committee have to deal with these problems?
I think we'd have to do some sort of terms of reference, I guess, but as far as powers go, it would have no more powers than the council has itself.
Yeah.
The only people do are the formal, like county council, if they exist. And then any other national body that's responsible for flooding. All that would happen is we would make suggestions to Anglia Water and other people like that to say, you need to do this. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. Right, so we've had a stand.
On it, Chair, and I want people to vote on it. I want to support this, but I would ask council to note that we are asking for this committee. We're therefore asking for the office to service that committee, and it isn't just the clerk sitting in that meeting and taking notes. Somebody has to process those notes. Somebody has to make those phone calls, write those letters, go out and see people. So I'd ask you all please to note that it is also an incumbence on the staffing in the office.
Right, okay. Right, so we've had a proposer and a seconder. Everyone in favour? Right, cool, lovely. Right. And then item 12, to receive a report on the clock tower.
Can you just note that it's an updated version that's gone round because there was some information missing from the sort of building works undertaken recently. So that's just included in the new report.
We're still waiting. Are we still waiting for any other information now then? Or?
We're still waiting for more advice regarding the electrical connection. So until we know if that's possible and how that much it would cost, we can't look at putting in an electric motor of any sort. So certainly, yes, we're waiting for that. Don't know what else.
I thought it was a very thorough report. Catherine.
Having looked at the one that we were sent, and then very briefly, just casting an eye over this, it's a very thorough report, and I think we should. Is it? It's Lauren who's done this. Can we thank Lauren for that? I do think that because we've got additional information here, and it is very important because it's going to be a lot of money, that we bring this back to the next council meeting. I think we do need to consider the suggestions that Lauren has made about moving forward to electric mechanism and the feasibility of getting the electricity going in the clock towers. But I do think perhaps it's too soon to do that tonight. If we could do it at the next meeting.
Is everybody happy to?
Yeah.
Okay, Graham.
This, I'm looking at these figures, it's astronomical, isn't it, what we're spending on this thing?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But I did bring up about putting an electric motor in there, and I was shouted down from every direction.
No.
Right,
No, you
so,
weren't, Graham.
I think we're going to go backwards on this. We need to get this sorted out, and because this money's just going out hand and fist.
Yeah.
That's got to stop. If
I
we've
think
got
everybody's
electric
in
supply
agreement.
into it, we
I
put
think
electric
everybody's
motor
in
in and done.
agreement with that, Graham, but some new information has come forward, hasn't it? So we need to understand what that is, and then we can we can discuss it and take a vote on it at the next meeting. So we're talking about 2 weeks, aren't we? So, yeah. Right. Item 13, to accept draft museum for Watton renewal lease. I hope everybody has read every page.
Did you? I think I put it out on the desk, so I don't need to read it to you. The sort of email from the solicitor that came with that and the points that they're asking you to look at in particular.
So, how do we, Catherine? Yes.
I think we need to clarify with the museum that we are on the case of getting the lease sorted. We are not hounding the museum in any way, and they aren't going to have a squatters writ or anything like that against them. This is just something that we need to do and get it properly.
And get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sue.
I noticed on the drawings that it doesn't include the chamber itself. That wasn't
Refers
coloured
to
in
the
it.
chamber,
It refers to it, but
and it refers to it being outlined in orange, I think, the areas, so that is something we do need to look at. And I think there are 1 or 2 points on here about the museum and the right to use the kitchen, and are you happy with what the solicitor is suggesting? If you can just take a look at those points, that would be helpful. The one thing I haven't clarified with them, so we've had internet issues, so I've not been able to get back to them, or don't know if they've been able to get back to me regarding the length of the term, because we went for 1 day short of 7 years, if you remember last time round, because that avoids the necessity to register with Land Registry. I don't know how our solicitors would feel about that, so I have asked that question.
Anybody have any particular views on it? Graham.
Do we actually own that museum then? Yeah. So if we give them a lease, we will be the leaseholders. So that means we have to do all the maintenance, yes? Yeah? That's fine, okay.
Yeah. So how do we want to move forward on this? Is there a date when we have to?
Just waiting for us to get back to them, I think. So it is really, are you happy with the lease as
Yes.
they're put
Is
forward?
everybody happy? Yeah. Okay. Right, so we'll leave it at that then. Right, item 14, planning. Keith. No. There's another one came through to. No. There was another one came through today, wasn't there, sort of thing. So I'll be on next time. Right, fair. Yeah. That's good, yeah. Right. Okay, if there's nothing more on planning, we'll move on to item 15, to pass a resolution to exclude the press and public to consider confidential matters. So I've done right. Bye.